In February 2026, a judge granted a temporary restraining order against Huda Mustafa, one of the most controversial and recognizable figures from Love Island USA Season 7. This order requires her to stay at least 100 yards away from Nicole Oliveira, who is the mother of her boyfriend's 1-year-old son, after Nicole alleged that Huda showed up to her apartment at 1:30 a.m. in the morning and sent several threatening messages for 12 hours straight. Yes, 12 hours straight, y'all. This is insane. Since then, a formal hearing has been scheduled for April 3rd to decide if Huda will be granted a permanent restraining order, which will make the whole situation worse and more serious. But the thing is that nobody who has watched the 7th season of Love Island is surprised that Huda is back in the headlines, because from the moment she walked into that villa, she was impossible to ignore. She was even nicknamed Hurricane Huda because she was simply unstable in the villa. Love her or hate her, and people had very strong feelings both ways, she was deemed the breakout star of the season. Even Netflix, a completely different streaming platform that had nothing to do with the show, they put up a billboard mocking something she said at the reunion just to get in on the conversation. Like, that was how much cultural real estate she was taking up. Even though Netflix was mocking her, they were still joining in on the conversation, and whether you talk bad about someone or talk good about them, you are still helping to boost their popularity. So around this time, people just thought that she was going to be the breakout star, that she was going to be the most successful, because basically everyone was talking about her. She was very controversial and still is. She got deals with Call of Duty, landed a Super Bowl commercial, and worked with the iconic beauty brand Huda Beauty. Even though her looks helped her get her foot in the door, controversy has followed her everywhere. First, it started with her possessiveness over Jeremiah, then the heart rate challenge with Ace, the friction with Shelly, then she was claiming she was bullied in the villa, and then after the show we had the racist allegations. Like, everything got so bad to the point where she was losing brand deals. And now we have the restraining order. So today we are going to do what we always do on this podcast. We are going to slow down and look at the full picture. I'm going to give you guys some context into Huda's life and discuss why she was expected to become the breakout star from Love Island. And of course, we are going to talk about the restraining order, because when you have all the information, everything just starts to make more sense. And by the end of today's video, we are going to answer this question: does fame reveal who you are, or does it reveal what was never healed? Let's get into it. Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm NK, and this podcast is your go-to space for honest conversations about beauty, culture, and the lives of modern women. If you are into that, make sure you subscribe, follow, rate 5 stars, and let's keep on going with this video. Okay, period. Part 1, before the cameras. Before we get into it, this video covers some heavy topics, including domestic violence, eating disorders, and thoughts of self-harm. Please take care of yourself and keep that in mind when deciding if, how, and when you watch. Huda stopped speaking to her father when she was only 16 years old, and she hasn't spoken to him in about 8 years. When she finally talked about why, she said this on the Call Her Daddy podcast.
There was a lot of times where I was alone with my dad, and there's things that like my family doesn't believe me about.
She did not go into full detail, but she did not have to, because what she explained next was enough. She talked about a specific memory from her childhood where she could hear her father beat her mother behind a closed door, and then somehow the door opened and she saw her mother's face before her father pulled her mother's head back and closed the door.
A vivid memory I have as a kid is like hearing my dad like beating my mom in the room, and I remember like finally like I think someone got the door open, and I just remember seeing my mom's face, like her glasses were broken, and then I just see him snatch her head back and slam the door. Like,
yeah, it sounds crazy, but the thing is that this revelation has divided the internet. Some people feel like she said all this to have a pity party, to get sympathy, to not face real accountability for her actions on Love Island, because this interview happened immediately after Love Island. And other people did have a lot of sympathy for Huda. They felt for her because her childhood, that sounds rough. Like, from what she has explained, that sounds terrible. That's abuse, and no child deserves to grow up in a toxic, abusive household, because that definitely rewires how your brain sees life, people, relationships, and just love in general. And I will say that Huda definitely did a lot of problematic stuff during Love Island and post Love Island. And we are going to get into all of that, so don't you worry. But the way she grew up is the foundation of her story, and it explains why she acts the way she acts, and it definitely explains these recent events that just transpired, you know, the restraining order. So I will give you some context into Huda's life before Love Island and before the restraining order, but not as an excuse for her behaviors, but more so for an explanation, because I like to have the full picture, so I want to give y'all the full picture too. So Huda was born August 30th, 2000 in Raleigh, North Carolina, making her 25 years old at the time of this video. So Huda's parents immigrated from Palestine to the United States in search of a better life, and she's the youngest of 5 children. That's a lot of damn siblings. Her upbringing seems very similar to Camila, so make sure after you watch this video, might as well watch my Camila video too. But this is a common story with a lot of immigrant families out there. A lot of these parents, they leave their home country in search of a better life for their kids. And the reason why a lot of them leave is for education, because, you know, the education system in certain countries, it's simply not good. It's corrupt. Child, like, let me not say too much, but it's just a lot. And a lot of immigrant parents, they see education as the way to escape poverty, to make something out of yourself, to, you know, just to be a great person. So a lot of parents really value education. I know my parents do. They value education. That's why I had to get my degree. But leaving your home for a whole new country or a whole new world is definitely a lot. It's scary. I don't know how these parents be doing it. So I'll give them their flowers when due. But the issue is that when these families move from their home country to a new country in search of a better life for their kids, they typically don't have a lot of money to support themselves. And that was the case with Huda's family. And I feel like a lot of us just understand that. So, you know, when you're growing up in an immigrant household where money is always the conversation in the background, where your parents gave up everything to be here and you feel the weight of that every single day, like that's not a small thing to carry as a child. And if you know, you know. Like really, if you know, you know. Like all immigrant children gather here, gather to the front, let me give you a hug. But Huda said that even though her family did not have a lot of money, her and her siblings still found ways to keep themselves entertained. They would play at Six outside because that is free. And also Huda did not get a phone until she was 16 or 17 years old.
So I wasn't raised with money. I wasn't raised with that. We played with sticks outside. We didn't have phones until we were like 16, 17.
So even though Huda's family was struggling financially, that wasn't even the worst part of her childhood. The worst part was her father. She has described him as extremely abusive towards her mother, towards her, and even towards her siblings. And when her mother finally decided to leave, Huda was only in the 4th grade, and she said she remembers that day clearly. While her dad was at work, her mom and her siblings, they packed up everything and they left.
And my mom, I remember when my dad was at work, we packed up everything and we left.
And I just want to applaud her mother. I don't know her mother. It's just a big deal to be able to walk away from a situation like that, especially in a foreign country. Like in your home country, it's already hard, well, depending where your home country is located, but even to walk away from an abusive relationship is extremely hard. Then when you add kids to the picture and you're in a foreign country, that's a lot to deal with. So I definitely want to give her flowers for that, because it's hard. A lot of women, they don't leave. They can't leave. They feel trapped. So I'm glad that she was able to do that. But the issue now was that Huda's mother, she had to care for 5 children on a single income. The father was on the picture anymore. She was working 3 to 4 jobs just to keep the lights on and to make sure there was food on the table. So it was a really rough time for the family. But even though Huda's father was gone, the damage was not done. Because there are things that Huda says happened between her and her father that her own family still does not believe. She has hinted at something darker without directly naming it. She said on the podcast,
I don't want to say grooming, but like there's a lot of things that were happening. You know, I don't know. My dad hasn't remarried or nothing. Like I have no idea the reasonings behind it.
So yeah, this was a lot to take in. This was a lot to listen to. And even though she didn't directly say what was going on, you can use your inferencing skills to inference what was going on. Whether you believe this is a sob story or not, these type of things happening in your childhood, they are going to affect you. And they definitely will affect you when you are an adult if you have not done the work to heal from it. I am not here caping for Huda because she has done very problematic stuff, but her past can explain how she acts today and what it looks like when you are unhealed. But then at 16 years old, as I mentioned before, Huda decided to officially cut off her father. She stopped speaking to him and she has not spoken to him since. She said that she accepted that her truth would not be believed and she moved on. Well, she tried to move on. School was not really a great place for Huda either. She said that she was shamelessly herself from a young age. She did what she wanted. She wasn't scared to express herself and just be herself. And that did not land well with the kids at her school. She said she got bullied, and once she got to middle school, at that point, she didn't even want to live anymore.
I always got bullied. I think I always was just like unapologetically myself, and that didn't resonate with a lot of people.
In middle school, you are quite young. You're like 12 to 13. So to have those thoughts at such a young age, that is scary. And thoughts like that, they don't just go away without proper support or help. They continue into your adulthood and affect all areas of your life, including relationships as well. I don't know if Huda has gone to therapy or has done anything like that. She has never mentioned it. So I could be wrong. Maybe she has tried to put in the work to work on her past trauma, because from what she has said, she definitely has some trauma. And from what we are seeing, it seems like a lot of it is not resolved. The Huda we know today looks really good. She's pretty and she has a really nice body. We can tell, you know, that's one thing that I'm sure we can all agree on. But this Huda did not always exist. She has said it herself that she has suffered body image issues.
I used to watch America's Next Top Model growing up. Like, I wanted to model so bad, and she would kind of rub it in my face and would be like, oh, you're not even pretty enough to do that. You're not skinny enough. You're not this. I stopped eating for days at a time.
Huda said that her math teacher even pulled her aside to be like, hey girl, eat something because I can tell something is not right. So Huda said all of this during her very first sit-down interview with Alex Cooper for the Call Her Daddy podcast. And this was 3 days after Love Island stopped filming. So it was a lot to take in after we saw Huda on our screens for like, what, I think 2 months? How long does Love Island last? I think 1 month or 2 months, something like that. But that was the first interview where we got to know her a bit more. And it was just crazy. And low-key to me, it kind of made sense. But I know a lot of people felt like it was just a sob story. And I am curious to know what you guys think about it, so please let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. And let me tell you about the first man that Huda ever got close to, because this part matters more than people realize. She has described herself as naive when she was 18 years old, which is fair enough. I feel like all of us were naive when we're 18. Let's be real. At 18, even though you are considered an adult legally, you're still pretty dumb. But anyways, Huda said that she did not have her first kiss until after high school, and she did not have sex until after high school too. And when she finally did open herself up to someone, the man who she lost her virginity to, he was sleeping with other girls as well. And the girl that he was sleeping with was the girl that bullied Huda. And this was her first real introduction into relationships. So yikes, definitely a terrible way to be introduced into romantic relationships. It's not it. And I also feel like girls who are like Huda, like they're immigrants or they're women of color, I feel like Huda's introduction into love and romantic relationships, I feel like this is similar to a lot of women out there. And I'm mostly speaking to the girls who, let's say their parents were born somewhere else and they came to Canada or they came to America or they came to the UK in search of a better life. I talked about this before in my Camila video, but I can also relate to this. I can't relate to Huda exactly, but like we are very different. We don't really have much similarities besides the fact that we are both women of color. I guess what I'm trying to say is that typically in households like Huda's and also like mine, you were not allowed to date, like at all. You cannot talk about a boy, you cannot be friends with a boy, you cannot be buddy-buddy with a boy, like that was not allowed. You had to focus on school, get the grades, get the degree, and then you can talk to guys. Like it's very strict, so I don't know if y'all can relate to me or not, but when you grow up in that environment, you don't have the best idea of what a romantic relationship should look like because you were never allowed to talk about it, you never could bring it up, you were scared, so you mostly just kept it to yourself, and then you don't have that experience or you do not have someone advising you on how to go about finding a boyfriend or being in a successful, healthy relationship. You tend to not make the smartest decisions. I know I have seen that firsthand, and I feel like it is just more common with women of color, girls of color, because typically, this doesn't apply to all of us, of course, but typically your parents are not giving you the talk or they're not telling you to date boys. They're telling you the opposite, to not date them, to focus on school, get your degrees, and read your books. Like that's literally what we are told. And sometimes it works out well, which is very rare if I'm being honest. Most times, in my opinion, I don't think it works out well. And these girls, these women, we have to learn the hard way of what a successful and healthy relationship looks like. So I hope what I'm trying to say is making sense, because I don't want to give personal examples right now just because I know family watches. So I'm not going to do that right now, but I hope I was able to explain it properly so I can somewhat understand Huda's situation in all of this mess. So after Huda's mess of a first relationship, she met Noah Sheline. Hopefully I'm saying his name right, Sheline. We're just gonna call him Noah. So Huda said on the Call Her Daddy podcast that she really liked Noah from the jump. And things moved very fast. Their relationship was very toxic by her own description. She said they kept breaking up and getting back together. And that's the kind of cycle that feels like love when you have never really been shown what love is actually supposed to look like. So after Huda was with Noah for a bit, she said one day she started feeling weird. So they decided to go to Walmart to take a pregnancy test because apparently it was cheaper than Plan B. And if you don't know what Plan B is, basically, if you want to prevent pregnancy after getting freaky, you take a Plan B because it temporarily delays or stops ovulation so you don't get a baby. I've never taken it, but I know people who have taken it and they said that it hurts like hell. They said that they had really bad abdominal pain, but then others said that it was fine. So I don't really know. I be hearing different things about Plan B. I don't know the truth, but if you have taken it, let us know down below. Okay, so I know you guys always see me happy and in a good mood, which I always am. I usually am for the most part, but it wasn't always this way. One of the most stressful periods of my life was right before and during university. And I know some of y'all might say I'm being dramatic, I'm doing too much, but listen, when you add the stress of immigrant parents who expect you to be a lawyer, doctor, an engineer, or one of those jobs, then you can talk to me about stress. The stress of figuring out what I wanted to do with my life and also trying to keep everyone happy was definitely getting to me, and I knew I had to talk to a professional. I did not have a car, so I went online to try to find a therapist, and it was a nightmare because half of them weren't even taking patients, or they didn't accept the insurance I had, and some were just so damn expensive. Like, for what? So I just tried to keep pushing through it on my own, and I would journal it, but I knew it just would not work long term. So when Wrld came to me as a sponsor, I was like, okay, this is something that I can actually get behind because they fixed the exact problem I ran into years ago. Most online therapy platforms don't even work with insurance at all. So that means you're either paying out of pocket or you're locked into some expensive monthly subscription. It's just not feasible. But Wrld does it differently. They are partnered with over 100 insurance plans, so the average copay is just $15 per session. And depending on your benefits, it can be as low as $0 per session, which is amazing. I mean, you use your insurance for your physical health, like getting massages or going to the dentist, so why not use it for your mental health? If you've been putting off therapy because it feels too expensive or too complicated, that excuse is now gone. Go to Wrld.com/NKW to get started. That's RULA.com/NKW. Link is in the description, and please use it because your mental health is not optional. So Huda took the pregnancy test, and lo and behold and lo, she was pregnant. And this was back in 2020, so she would have been 19 years old, 19 or 20. But even if she was 19 and 20, it's still the same thing. That is quite a young age to have a kid, especially with someone who you are not married to, or you guys have not even had a long enough relationship. And also the fact that the relationship was toxic, a baby does not help with that mix. But Huda did what a lot of young women do when they're holding on to something that big. She kept it a secret. She had moved back in with her mother at the time, and she kept the pregnancy from her for 3 to 4 months. She kept it from everybody, and her belly must have not been showing, because if she was able to go that long without telling them, they were just not paying attention, or she just did not have a big belly.
I go in the Walmart bathroom and I pee on this. I put it back in the box. Open that shit, pregnant. I said, oh.
So on July 15, 2020, she gave birth to her daughter named Arlie. And from everything Huda has shared publicly, that little girl became her whole world. Now, I do want to give credit where it is due here, because Noah is not absent. He is a US Army serviceman who posts about Arlie constantly, and he has called her the best thing that has happened to him. And it seems like he is still actively a part of her life. I've just seen some conflicting reports where they say that he's absent, he's not there, I don't know, but from what we've seen on social media, it seems like he is actively part of his daughter's life. And even when the internet was tearing up Huda's during Love Island, he was there to support her. He told the internet to be nice to Huda, even though he knows that she can be ridiculous. Even though it sounds like he was trying to be nice to her and to, support her, that low-key sounds like shade, because why did he have to add the part where he's like, I know she's ridiculous, but just be nice to her. But basically, he did not want Huda to come home and for Arlie to see her mother upset. He just didn't want that energy, that vibe. So he was like, yeah, y'all, please be nice to Huda, even though she's a little bit ridiculous, but be nice to her. Which is fair enough. His request wasn't anything crazy, but if you are gonna go on national TV, you have to be prepared for anything. Even posting yourself on the internet, you have to be prepared for anything, because people can come at you all type of ways. But if you are gonna go on the most popular show in the nation, you have to be prepared for everything, especially when the show is all about looks, all about, hot people. Oh, they're gonna tear your ass up. And to be honest, a lot of people go on these type of shows for exposure in the first place. So if you want exposure, you have to accept the bad exposure and the good. Like, you can't get one or the other. Huda, at the time of this video, threatened to harm herself, her boyfriend's baby mama, and his child. That is insane. That is not someone who is stable. This reaction is not normal or healthy at all. And the relationship sounds very toxic. So when Love Island came calling in 2025, just think about what they were getting. They were getting a young woman who had survived an abusive father, an ED, thoughts of self-harm, and a teenage pregnancy that she hid from everyone. They were getting all of that, and they put her on television anyway. Which, does make sense. They probably saw Huda, listened to her story, and they realized that she would be great television. And she was. Part 2. Love Island and the come up. So if you are not familiar with Love Island, I'm gonna give you a real quick condensed version of what it is. So it's a reality dating show where a group of single people are put together in a villa, typically somewhere tropical, and they have to couple up, survive eliminations, and ultimately find love. Or at least something that looks like it, because a lot of y'all be going there for clout, and that's on period. I don't believe any real relationship on Love Island. The only one that I think that is real is, what's his face? Cordell and what's her name? Sarita. I think they are real, but I don't know, I feel like most people is just for show. It's literally just to jumpstart your influencer career. Love Island is a UK show, but the US spinoff airs on Peacock and it has been running since 2019. So season 7 was filmed in Fiji in the summer of 2025, and Huda was the first Arab American contestant in the show's history. When I first saw her, I thought she was Latina, to be honest, like just because like the way she looked, everything, you know, just the whole face shape and all that. She just looks Latina, but she has gotten some filler and she has also got a nose job too. So I feel like the fact that she got a nose job, that really changed the way she looks, because your nose is like the most important part of your face. So if that looks different, you're gonna look completely different. I feel like with Huda before her nose job, she looked like she was Arab, because like, you know, like Arab people, like not all of them of course, but they have a certain shape to their nose, which I find beautiful. I like it. I really liked her nose before, you know, the nose job, but whatever, it's on my nose, I can't say anything. But from day one, Huda and Jeremiah Brown in the villa, they were locked in. And I mean, they were locked in like immediately. At first, it seemed like they would be the strongest couple, but quickly, you know, it just seemed like a lot was going on. And if you watch the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In the very first episode, she chose to couple up with him after they shared a kiss during the opening game. And side note, this show has a lot of kissing, like a little too much for my liking. Like I was like, y'all be doing too much. I have to be skipping the kissing parts because I'm like, I'm not trying to watch all these scenes. Like y'all are just using too much tongue. Y'all are zooming in too much. Like it's just a lot going on. And I was even considering not watching the show, but everyone kept talking about it. Then y'all wanted me to make a video about it. So yeah, I probably will watch the upcoming season 2 just so I'm on top of it in case you guys want a video about it. But yeah, it's a mess. But by episode 3, Jeremiah and Huda were laughing about being the mom and the dad of the villa, and all the islanders noticed. They noticed how strong it seemed that their relationship was, and they were just all over each other. They were locked in, and they were not opening up for anyone or any connections. Like they were like, it's me and her against the world, bro.
And Huda said, I really like you, I was cheesing, bro. It's crazy because I keep telling her, like, bro, I'm usually like this. I don't know if it's the environment, but it's like, yeah, I really like her off the rip.
One of their fellow islanders, Ace, he was like to Jeremiah, stop limiting your options, explore other options, explore other connections. And Ace felt like what was happening between Huda and Jeremiah, it was love bombing. Then Olandria, who we will come back to later, she told Huda to be more open-minded, and she said to her face, don't embarrass yourself going that hard for her man. But Huda was not hearing none of it. She was not listening. If anyone talked bad about Jeremiah, she would call them a hater. She was not trying to hear it because Jeremiah was her man and she was Jeremiah's girl, and that was that. But when you understand her background and see the way she was acting on Love Island, it low-key starts to make sense, because here we have a woman who grew up without a consistent, safe, loving male presence. You know, she watched her father hurt her mother, and her first relationship ended up in betrayal. Then she was dating her baby daddy, and at the time, their relationship was toxic. So where was the healthy display of love? She didn't have a good example of what love should look like. I ain't no therapist, but I'm sure that all of these things that happened to Huda, it explains why she acts the way she acts and why her and Jeremiah, their little fling on Love Island, was toxic. The drama surrounding these two, Huda and Jeremiah, honestly, it was a mess. And I feel like it's the reason why the show popped off, because before I was not a fan of Love Island. I didn't really care, but I kept seeing people talk about Huda and Jeremiah. And I was like, what is going on? Who's Huda and Jeremiah? That I found out they were from Love Island, and then I started watching it because also y'all were saying, have you watched Love Island? Have y'all watched Love Island? I was like, no, I don't really care, da da da. So yeah, I feel like the drama between those was great TV because that really helped the show pop off and also helped with Huda's popularity. And it's crazy too because she was acting very toxic, very crazy, yet that made her more popular. Like, you see how bad behavior is rewarded? Huda's behavior in the villa was anxious love. She became very controlling. She started demanding that Jeremiah plan activities for her. She talked down to him, and nobody likes being talked down to, especially a man. She even asked him on a reality TV show if he would share his phone location with her in real life. Like, y'all, I don't think you guys realize how crazy it is. Like, they literally have known each other for not that long, and she's asking for his location. She's possessive, won't let anyone be around him. Like, it's a lot. It's very controlling and very weird because they hadn't even known each other for a long time. It was just very obvious that their relationship was doomed from the beginning. And I'm talking about the relationship because it was a big part of her story on Love Island, but it also explains her relationship with Louis, and it gives us a glimpse into what is going on with them currently, and also the restraining order. Everything is just starting to make sense. Also, this is a side note, but I could tell Huda definitely has a type, because if you look at her baby daddy, if you look at Jeremiah, and if you look at her current boyfriend Louis, they all look very similar. She clearly likes her light skins. But what really messed up Huda and Jeremiah's relationship on Love Island, and also exposed Huda's possessiveness, was when a new bombshell, Iris, entered the villa and she kissed every single guy on the island as part of a challenge, which is something that the show designs to specifically create this type of tension. I'm telling you, y'all, this show does way too much kissing. Like, you're meeting these people, then boom, 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 you have to kiss. Like, huh? I hope all y'all got tested before you got on the island, because no thank you. So when Iris got to Jeremiah, Huda, who was watching from a distance, she called Iris the B word and told her to stop. Then Jeremiah pointed out that Huda had just kissed other male bombshells in the exact same challenge moments before, and he was right. So that was the moment where the cracks became impossible to ignore. So on the show, super fans are allowed to vote, and they can vote people off or vote people to recouple with someone new, and that's exactly what they did. Fans voted for Jeremiah to recouple with Iris, and Huda found this out in front of the entire villa, and she was left single, and she spiraled. She was crying, breaking down for hours. She was just going off. Like, if y'all watch the show, y'all watch the show. And if you didn't, just search up clips of Huda crashing out and you'll see.
And the boy they want you to couple up with, Jeremiah.
What?
Huda called him a liar, she called him the B word, and she said that someone who was husband material would never treat her this way. And yeah, while she was crying and crashing out, Jeremiah did not check up on her once.
He's a fucking bitch.
What'd you say?
Because of the fact that he had a great day with Iris, because of what we're going through, he's using her as a scapegoat so that he can fucking stay in the game. He wants to drop me to go with Iris.
Okay, come, baby, come. Let's sit down.
No, you're a fucking bitch.
She just went off on him, and that's when she was named Hurricane Huda, because of how she was acting. You know, she was acting like a hurricane. But the fact that Jeremiah never checked up on her once is crazy, especially considering he was all about her. He was like, yeah, I just want you, you're my girl, blah, blah, blah. How are you going to do that and then start to pull away when you've already made her hooked onto you? You know, that makes sense. Like, people don't hate on Jeremiah as much as they hate on Huda. He plays a part in it too, because he was doing all that lovey-dovey stuff. He was all over her. He made her feel so special, and then he pulled away. So, you know, both of them are at fault. Multiple professionals online have weighed in on Huda and Jeremiah's relationship dynamic. One study said that Huda shows clear examples of anxious attachment, and Jeremiah's withdrawal was a direct response to her possessive behavior. She is so scared of being discarded and constantly needs reassurance, and we definitely saw that. Anxious attachment is what happens when you grow up loving someone who was not consistently safe to love. You learn that affection is something you have to earn and protect, and that the moment someone pulls back, your alarm bells go off, because you were taught that distance means danger and that they are no longer interested in you. So if you feel like someone is pulling away from you, or let's say they haven't answered their text messages in 3 hours, you might start spiraling and think that they don't want you anymore. So this is how this type of attachment operates. And a lot of people believe that Huda fits the description for this. And it does make sense, because her father was the original inconsistent caregiver. Sometimes he was present, sometimes he was violent, sometimes he was gone, and he has allegedly done things to Huda, and her family doesn't even believe that these things happen. She learned early that love comes with conditions, and that the people who are supposed to stay leave. So when Jeremiah started withdrawing, she did not experience that as a normal relationship dynamic. She experienced it as a confirmation of everything she had ever been taught about love. That it runs out, that it's too much, and that she has to fight to keep it. Eventually, Jeremiah got voted off the show, and Huda moved on from him. She coupled up with one guy, and I cannot remember his name because their coupling is that a word, coupling? Anyways, I'm gonna make it a word. They lasted like 2.5 seconds, but after that guy, she coupled up with Chris Seeley, and the two of them made it all the way to the finale on July 13th, 2025, finishing in 3rd place. The day before the finale, they went on a date, and it was a mess, and that's when they decided to end their relationship. To be honest, I could see before that date that their relationship would also not work out as well.
I wasn't trying to do anything OD, but I wanted you to touch me. When you don't want to do it, it gives me a sense of rejection, which hurt.
You reacting a certain way that you did last night doesn't make me want to do that. Like, my mama don't talk to me like that. I'm not gonna let somebody I'm talking to talk to me like that. What makes you think you could do that to a grown man? Like,
So even though Huda made it all the way to the finale, she walked out single. She was also doing a lot when it came to Chris as well. There's one scene where she was trying to force him to get freaky because she wanted to get freaky, but he was like, no girl, we only get 2 hours of sleep. I'm trying to sleep. I'm not trying to wake up tired. But she's like, no, I'm trying to get freaky. Oh, mess. Like, it's just, when you hear these things, it's like, girl, I cannot defend you because what are you doing? Now, if the roles were reversed, what would happen? Exactly. So Huda did not win Love Island, but that did not matter because she was immediately one of the fan favorites. As soon as the show ended, she had 4.6 million followers on Instagram, and she was getting brand deals left, right, and center. She got a brand deal with Call of Duty, Opoly, and even Huda Beauty. That's probably the biggest collab she's had to date. She went from a single mom in Raleigh, North Carolina to one of the most recognizable faces from Love Island USA in the span of 2 months. That bag arrived quick. She started making the coin real quick, which is what I expected because initially she was deemed as the breakout star of Love Island. But at this point, I don't think so. It has changed. It definitely has changed, and I feel like she low-key fumbled the bags. Not low-key, she did fumble her bags. If she played her cards right, she would be very popular right now. She's still popular, don't get me wrong, but I believe she would get more opportunities. So as soon as Huda came out of the villa and she went back home, things seemed to be good for her because she had a lot of supporters. But what happened after the villa really exposed Huda's true colors, and that's why I'm making this video. So once Love Island wrapped up filming, Huda made her red carpet debut with Louis Russell at the Weapons premiere on July 31st, 2025. So Louis Russell, he is a British model and social media personality from Hampshire, England. No one really knew about him until after he appeared on season 5 of Too Hot to Handle on Netflix in 2023. If you have never seen Too Hot to Handle, the premise is simple. Basically, a group of attractive single people are put into a villa together and told they cannot kiss, they cannot have sex, they basically cannot do anything physical. Every time someone breaks the rules, the prize money goes down and down. So Louis, he broke the rules multiple times. He cost his cast members money, like it's crazy. Basically, you just have to be disciplined in this show, and a lot of people just failed.
I'll kiss Hannah last night, but oh no. You've got to be kidding me. I just feel like it's wild that you kissed her after we kissed.
Because y'all have no discipline, and that's my biggest ick when it comes to men. Like, if you have no discipline in your life, like literally any area of your life, if you have no discipline in it, you're not attractive. Like, if you can't resist kissing someone, if you can't resist smashing someone, then you're not cute to me, and I don't mess with it. So I'm like, I've never watched the show because I feel like I would be too annoyed when I watch it. But if you have watched it, let me know. I like watching reality TV when my brain wants to relax and just make fun of people. Like Love is Blind and Love Island. There's also that new show called Age of Attraction on Netflix. It is so creepy though, but honestly, let me not get sidetracked right now because I could talk about shows, but maybe I'll do that on my Instagram or something. But one thing I will say is that I found it strange that Huda and Louis started dating immediately. Like, as soon as she came out the villa, I'm like, damn, that was very quick. Personally, I thought he was a clout chaser at first because when Huda was on Love Island, she was the most popular, and as soon as she left the villa, she was still the most popular. So I feel like he was trying to slide into her DMs and talk to her and date to help give himself a boost back into the spotlight. Because let's be honest, I did not know who he was until he started dating Huda. And I also feel like it's important to note that Huda did not take any time for herself after Love Island. She had just spent 2 months in a villa being watched by millions of people, going through a very public emotional spiral, having her behavior picked apart by the internet in real time, and instead of stepping back and giving herself the space to breathe and process all of that, she went straight into something new with someone she had just met. All that don't sound good at all, and it ended up not being good. Also, let me just mention too that Huda and Louis, they're still together to this day. So I don't know if I mentioned that. Well, right now the date is March 23rd and they are currently still together. But Louis has his own situation that is central to this whole story. He has a 1-year-old son with the woman named Nicole Oliveira. And Nicole is going to be very important in part 3. I mean, I already talked about her in the intro, but yeah. Okay, so in October 2025, a couple months after Love Island had officially wrapped up, Louis and Huda were on a live stream together on Louis' account. They were taking calls from followers and just talking about random stuff, to be honest. Someone with no caller ID joined the live stream and they used a racial slur directed at Olandria. They called her the N-word.
Whoa, hey.
Yeah. Huda and Louis seemed surprised by it, but after they ended the call, they started laughing. And of course, this clip went viral. When this story first broke out, honestly, I was not surprised, and I didn't feel too strongly about it, only because Huda has slowly been showing herself since Love Island, and I was like, I am not surprised. Like, when I hear stories like this, it doesn't make me outraged because I just, like, you know, I just not gonna let people outrage me. You just can't do it. Well, sometimes you can. It just shows how immature they are and that they're just not ready for fame, or just they're not people who should be role models to young people out there. Simple. So of course, when this clip went viral, there was a lot of backlash directed at Huda and Louis, but mostly Huda because Huda was the co-star with Olandria. They were supposedly friends before, but Huda was fake apparently. So people are like, girl, like, you're fake, you're racist, like, what's going on? So Huda's initial response on Instagram was a couple days after, and she said that her and Louis did not hear what the caller had said. And she said they only laughed because it was awkward. She said whoever said it was in the wrong and she does not support that type of behavior. She does not condone it. And I'm like, okay, girl, maybe you didn't hear it, but in my opinion, it did sound like they heard it. That's why they laughed. Because if you didn't hear it, you wouldn't laugh. Because what's there to laugh about if you didn't hear it? You know what I'm saying? That is just not how you should respond to something like that. If you are a good person, you should be disgusted. And especially since you are not a black person, you should be like, yo, stop that. Like, no. Considering your bootleg is literally a black man, but okay. And you know what's funny? That man, Louis, he's black and he's out here laughing at a racial slur directed at another black woman. You can't make this ish up. Olandria responded to all of this on her Instagram story saying, I do not condone racism of any kind, nor do I entertain it. That kind of language is never acceptable. Not in anger, not as a joke, not ever. Words like that carry generations of pain, and pretending otherwise only keeps the cycle going. Defending it, laughing about it, or making excuses is even worse. She also called for action, asking anyone who participated in the stream to donate to the UNCF, the NAACP, and the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. She did not drag Huda, she did not go on a live stream and cry. She just made a statement, asked for accountability, and pointed people towards something constructive. I can't lie, whoever helped her write that message, they clocked in. Like, the way she responded was so classy, and that's how a role model should respond. Like, she really stepped into fame perfectly. I don't know who helped her, like, I really don't know, or if this is just who she is, but she has been doing a really good job navigating her newfound fame. And I feel like she's the real breakout star from Love Island. Not to compare these two, but both of them are examples of what you should not do and what you should do when you become a public figure, or just how you carry yourself on an everyday basis. Your looks can only get you so far, y'all. That's why I say use pretty privilege to get your foot in the door, but just being pretty is not gonna sustain it. You have to put in the work. Anyways, after all of the backlash, Huda finally posted a formal apology on October 29th. She said that the comment clearly targeted Olandria, and she was sorry for her media reaction. She said it came from being caught off guard and not from finding the word funny. She said it was an uncomfortable, nervous reaction that she now recognizes as inappropriate. Huda also announced that she would be making a personal donation to the NAACP. And I was like, oh, I was surprised, but I guess she took Olandria's advice. But her apology and her personal donation did not matter because on October 31st, Huda Beauty dropped her from their collaboration. And this was a pretty big deal because Huda Beauty, they are the iconic global brand. Like, they are very popular. I'm sure if you wear makeup, you know of the brand, or maybe you have some other products at home right now. I was shocked that they dropped her, but I wasn't mad at it, to be honest. I also saw a lot of people speaking out, including black influencers who work with Huda Beauty. They were applying pressure to the brand to be like, yo, drop her because y'all cannot tolerate this. Like, this lady has shown many times, if we're being honest, that she does not really care for black women. At least her interaction with Olandria and Shelly, we saw that. And then now we had this situation. Like, it was just a pattern. And at that point, it was hard to defend Huda. So the brand, they dropped her. I've seen a lot of conflicting opinions about Huda getting dropped from Huda Beauty. But honestly, it was the right thing to do because it sets an example. It sets the tone. It's like, yo, racism is not allowed here. We do not support it. We do not work with anyone who is racist. So, like, that's it. And we've seen way too many bad people get rewarded for bad behavior, especially on the internet, the way things are going. Like, it's just so irritating to see. So it's nice to see someone who does something bad actually face repercussions for it. Recently, we had Taylor Frankie Paul. She had her season of The Bachelorette canceled 3 days before it was set to premiere because of a 2023 video of her abusing her then boyfriend resurfaced on the internet. I didn't even know who she was until I saw the video, and I was like, damn, That is crazy. And I am happy that these people are getting punished for what they did, because no, like y'all, it's just very annoying to see bad people keep doing bad things and getting rewarded for it. So Huda Beauty posted a statement saying that kindness and humanity are at the heart of everything they do, and that Huda's behavior did not align with their values. They said they did not believe her actions reflected her character, but they found them deeply upsetting, and they were ending the partnership and removing all related content. Yeah. She messed up big time. This Instagram live incident made everything worse for Huda, because at the Love Island reunion, which premiered August 25th, 2025, it was revealed that Olandria had asked Huda privately to post something telling her followers to stop sending Olandria racist messages.
Huda, why didn't you do the post that Olandria asked you to?
Like, I was dealing with so much outside of that. Like, I didn't know what to say in that moment because I was dealing with so much. I wanted to address more than just that.
Truly wish you would have just prioritized that moment to just address the racism and the bullying towards me and Shelly, since that was spewed out the most. That hurt.
I was getting hated on as well, racially.
I get that, but your face was not plastered on George Floyd's body.
I didn't
Mine
even see
was.
that.
I told
That's
you
the
that.
This was as a result of
I don't know that either. I don't know
I
that either.
explained it in the airport. Like, it's hurt. It hurt.
And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, I didn't make the post.
I'm glad you've grown from it now, but it hurt, bro.
I'm really sorry.
We was close.
I'm really, like, truly.
And you didn't speak up for me.
I feel like Huda's fans are like literally teenagers, because like the way they act is ridiculous. But even though that picture was circulating on the internet and Olandria had asked Huda to make a post about it, Huda never made a post about it. She never told her fans, hey y'all are doing too much, please stop. And if these people look up to you, why would you not do that? Did you enjoy seeing them attack Olandria? Like, what is the... So it just did not look good. And it really just showed you where Huda's priorities were and what type of friend she was, because apparently Olandria and Huda, they were friends, but obviously not anymore with the way Huda's been acting. And because of this whole mess, I had to ask y'all this question on Instagram. So I asked, do you think solidarity between women of color is real, or is it something we perform? 26% of you said that it is real and you have felt it. 66%, more than half, said we preach it more than we practice it. 5% said our differences are too much to be in solidarity, and 3% said there is no solidarity at all. So majority of you do not fully believe in the solidarity that we claim to have. Most of y'all think that we preach it more than we practice it. And I feel like this question, you're always gonna get a different answer, because we all have different experiences with different people. We live different lives, so we're not all gonna have the same experience. But then Nico swiped up to my story and I wanted to read what he said. Hi NK, hey, what's up? Big fan of your videos, always leaves a thought in me. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate that. I think performatism is the new norm in this generation. Sadly, we tend to care more about the aesthetics of being in a movement and less about how being in it actually can affect both ourselves and those around us. And hence, things get rough, people tend to silently pull out or way too loudly. So they're talking about the aesthetics of a movement, not the actual work of it, just the look of it. And I feel like this has been amplified with social media, because let's say something is happening and people are on your back because you're not talking about it. You can just make a quick post about it, and then people immediately will shut up and be like, oh my God, you're a queen, you talked about this, like, oh my God, you slay. But the whole time you don't care, or the whole time you're doing nothing about it, all you did was post about it. And yes, posting is great, especially if you have a big platform, because you can spread awareness, but then it gets to a point of being performative. Like, people can say, okay, now you're just performing, you don't care, you're just doing this to get more fans. I feel like just social media has made it worse, because the spreading awareness is a good thing and it's important, especially if you have a big platform. But then on the other hand, it's like, okay, what if this situation going on is so bad and everyone knows it's happening? We need to do something more than just spreading awareness. So I get what Nico was saying, but it is just tricky to navigate. And honestly, when I was reading Nico's message, I just kept thinking about Huda, like the context of Huda. Because here we have Huda, a Palestinian woman who sat on a live stream and laughed at a slur directed at a Black woman who she claimed that she was friends with. And then Huda also agreed to post something telling her fans to stop sending hate to Olandria, but she never did that. That is not solidarity, that's the aesthetic of it. And even though both Olandria and Huda, they are women of color, there's clearly no solidarity. And this doesn't mean that there's no solidarity as a whole with women of color, but I will be honest, I feel like there's just way too many of us, and there are factors that get in the way of there being true solidarity. Colorism's a big one, and proximity to whiteness is another big one. I have Black and brown friends, and I've mostly only been friends with Black and brown people as I got older. When I was younger, I had some white friends too. Honestly, I would say no, that there is not a really strong solidarity between women of color, just because colorism is a real thing, y'all. And proximity to whiteness. I've seen many minorities be racist to each other. I've seen many other minorities be racist to Black people. So I personally don't believe that there is a strong solidarity between women of color, but the people who I have in my life, I'm very happy with them, and there's definitely solidarity with my friend group. But as a whole, no. But as always, thank you guys so much for participating in these polls. It always makes the videos more interesting, and I love reading what you have to say about it. So if you want to be part of future polls, make sure you follow me on Instagram. It's Wrld with 2 Ds. Now let's keep on going with this video. Part 3. The restraining order. On February 20th, 2026, Huda flew from North Carolina to Los Angeles. And according to court documents filed by Nicole, what happens next unfolds over the course of 12 hours. Nicole says from the moment that Huda landed in LA, the messages started coming for 12 hours, y'all. And these messages are alarming. Huda allegedly threatened that she was going to jump off buildings, and allegedly she was swearing on her daughter's life that she would delete herself. So this was going on for 12 hours. And Nicole was at home with her son. And then at 1:30 a.m. in the morning, so it would have been February 21st now, Huda took an Uber to Nicole's apartment building in LA. This is the building where Nicole was with her son. And Huda forces her way into the building. Y'all, this is sounding insane. Nicole said she never gave Huda access verbally or physically, and she says the whole thing was captured on surveillance video. And if that video ever comes out, that's gonna be crazy. Maybe at the court hearing the video will come out, I don't know, but whew. I low-key want to see that video, can't lie. But Huda allegedly threatened to knock down Nicole's door if she did not respond. The police were called, and they confirmed that they received a call that night about a suspect threatening to harm themselves. However, no official report was registered, but it didn't matter because the damage was done. Now, before we go any further, I just want to talk about Nicole real quick and just explain who she is. So Nicole is 36 years old, and she is based in Los Angeles. She's a social media personality and actress, and she has appeared in a couple of television series over the years and has built a following of over about 100K on Instagram. She has a daughter from a previous relationship and also has a 1-year-old son, Luca, with Louis, Huda's boyfriend. Nicole told TMZ when she was asked about this whole Huda situation, she said that she never wanted her son in the public eye, especially involved in anything negative. She said the situation had nothing to do with her or her son, and she does not want drama, a response, or even an apology, just privacy and safety for her family. And then she said, I pray for Huda's mental health. So a judge reviewed Nicole's petition and signed off on a temporary restraining order. So now Huda is legally required to stay at least 100 yards away from Nicole and her son. She cannot contact Nicole directly or indirectly. Not by calls, not by text, and not by social media. So yeah, it's a lot, y'all. It is a lot, like a mess. And remember, Louis is still with Huda right now. So Huda cannot come near his son nor his baby mama. Wow. A formal hearing is scheduled for April 3rd, so we're going to see if Huda's restraining order becomes permanent. This hearing probably has already happened depending on when I get this video up, so I will update you guys on what is going on. Okay, hey y'all, as I promised before, I am back with an update. This is from US Magazine, shout out to them. So it says Love Island star Huda Mustafa's temporary restraining order extended until new hearing. So let's see. Okay, so the temporary restraining order against Huda Mustafa remains in place as Love Island star awaits next hearing. US Weekly can confirm. Okay, so it looks like it was extended. So a hearing was scheduled for Friday, April 3rd at Los Angeles court after Nicole, the ex of Louis, we all know that period, filed a restraining order against the star last month. Yeah. Okay, so only Nicole was there and Louis and Huda did not go to the court hearing. The hearing is pushed until April 23rd. So we got what, 2 weeks left? Or more, 2 more weeks? Yeah, about 2 weeks right now. Okay, they asked for a continuance. Okay, so it looks like the restraining order has been extended, but it's not permanent yet. So this is an update. I honestly wonder why it was extended. Like, can they give us a reason, please? Thank you very much. But I mean, at least we know what's popping. And yeah, as I promised, I gave y'all an update. And if Huda violates this temporary restraining order, she could face further legal penalties and potentially get arrested. So let's hope she behaves herself. But there is another layer to this that came out days after the restraining order was filed. and it involves Louis. So sources close to Nicole told TMZ that after the February 21st incident, Louis actually stayed with Nicole for an entire week, and that he encouraged Nicole to file the restraining order, and that he sent Nicole text messages between himself and Huda as evidence. We do not know who these sources are, so just keep that in mind, but this is pretty interesting. Not Louis telling Nicole to file the restraining order, and that he's still dating Huda, like, huh? But I don't know if you guys are understanding it. The man that Huda allegedly flew across the country for, the man who she was allegedly in crisis over, the man she was swearing on her daughter's life about, told his ex to file the restraining order. That is so weird, and just like, what is going on in this relationship? This whole thing don't make no damn sense, and it's giving Huda and Jeremiah all over again. But this whole mess is just getting messier because now Louis has filed his own court documents claiming that Nicole is keeping their son Luca from him as a bargaining chip, threatening to move out of state. So he is seeking joint custody and a formal parenting plan. So this whole thing is just a mess. It's just a mess, and I don't even know what to say at this point. Huda has responded to all of this on her Instagram story because they all love going on Instagram story to release a statement. Anyways, she said that, "I'm aware of what's being said and it's not true. I'm handling everything the right way by letting legal take care of it. I appreciate everyone who continues to support me." She said it's not true, so I guess we're gonna see if it's true or not. We're gonna see if that judge grants the permanent restraining order or not. And days after the story broke, Huda was unfazed because she was posting herself at the gym smiling with Louis, and he was posting her too, calling her his queen. So I guess they're on good terms now, but isn't it not crazy that your girlfriend allegedly threatened your son and your baby mama and you're so cool with her? Like, huh? We just have too many toxic, unhealthy relationships in the media. Like, Lord, take the wheel, because there's a lot of them. Like, I'm actually tired of them. But I just want to say this real quick, that we do not know everything that happened, and hopefully we will find out more information at the hearing. But right now, everything is just allegations, and a restraining order is not a conviction. Court documents tell one side of the story, and Huda has denied those claims. You know, I'm not here to be the judge or the jury, but what I do know is that a judge looked at Nicole's petition, and they're like, yep, we're going to give you that temporary restraining order. That means the evidence was good enough to get a restraining order, even though it's temporary. Honestly, when it comes to Huda, I'm gonna say this. She came from a rough childhood, and fame is the last thing that she needs. The last thing she needed was to be on a show like Love Island that's toxic, all about looks, and just thrives off of drama. Huda has said publicly many times that she has been to the darkest place a person can go. You know, that she wanted to delete herself. That she has carried things since childhood that her own family did not believe. And I genuinely hope that somewhere in the middle of all this legal noise and internet discourse, she's getting real help. So if you are struggling, please reach out. You can call or text 988 anytime. It's free and it's confidential. You don't have to be in full crisis mode to call. You can just be struggling, and that is enough. Because we do not need to normalize this toxic and unhealthy behavior. It is not it, and it will never be it. But at this point in the video, you should have been able to answer this question. Does fame reveal who you are, or does it reveal what was never healed? Hey y'all, okay, so I'm introducing this new short segment to the channel. It's just called Her Next Move. So this segment will include some things that these ladies can do to improve their situation, you know, hence their next move, her next move. So for Huda, let's get into it. First thing is therapy, 100%. Huda needs to go work on herself. She needs the time to just be alone, and she also needs to be single for a bit. You need time alone. So I feel like from Love Island to Louis was just such a quick turnaround. Like, she should have just had some time to, you know, just to chill for herself. And the last thing is just to decenter men. Men are annoying, some are great, but overall she does need to decenter them and focus on herself, focus on her daughter, and I'm sure she'll be much happier. If y'all have anything else you want to add to this list, add it down below. But I am looking forward to reading your comments. Thank you for watching till the end of this video. Bye!